Well, hello, I'm Alex, and today I've got an idea for making zines. So you can use this simple zine format to develop a daily practice. It's small, it's little, you can take it with you anywhere you go. It's perfect for prompts, and it's perfect for when you don't have time. You know how I'm always saying, it's easy to spend a few minutes a day in creative play. I'm sure some of you are like, well, it's easy for you to say you're an artist. So, I'm making these videos for you to take play breaks with me. This is your creativity timeout, baby. Just grab whatever supplies you have on hand, work alongside me, don't worry. I'm keeping this no fuss fabulous, easy peasy. Go ahead, check it out. Today I've got another Daily Play with Zines video for you. Specifically, coloring patterns, okay? Before we get going here, your setup for day one is always to have your zine ready. So you're going to be folding a regular sheet of paper into a zine. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video called How to Fold a Zine, so go ahead and check that out. It'll take you 2 minutes. And I've gone ahead and opened up my paper and laid it flat because I know I'm going to be doodling on here. But before I get going, let me show you some examples of what I mean by patterns, okay? So going back to the last video I did, which was called Color Doodling, Daily Play with Zines and Color Doodling, what we did is we took our paper, and the day one setup was to doodle all over this piece of paper so that when you fold it, you can start coloring like 1 page a day, right? So this was the page I colored in the video itself. And you could just imagine, I've got this example, which I also showed what it might look like if you colored 1 page of your zine a day, or maybe you do a page and a half. It's kind of up to you. So I wanted to show you that. Why? Why am I showing you this? Well, because when I say patterns, there's no reason why you couldn't doodle this and color it in full on instead of doing what I call color doodling, right? Or just check this out. This is something that I did by taking a cup and tracing around it and getting all these overlapping shapes. Well, look at this. What do you think this is? So this is a bunch of circle tracings, getting lots of overlap, and then picking one kind of shape to repeat. So in this case, it's these like pointed oval shapes here, and just filling it in. You're doodling between the spaces and you're repeating. Imagine if instead of being this, it was all zigzags or stripes or anything you can imagine. You're not coming up with a different type of shape element to repeat in each space between the lines. You're just choosing one thing to repeat, and then you get a very interesting pattern. So just wanted to point that out, that I'm going to show you some ideas for patterns, but it could be as easy as taking a cup or a glass, probably better a glass, and tracing around it until you get enough overlaps to make it interesting. Basically what happened here. And just full-on coloring, right? Can you imagine if you just went in and colored? That would be pretty amazing. Okay, so I wanted to show you that. Now I want to go ahead and show you the patterns that I made 3 videos, and one's called Tiles Trick, which is this guy. One is called Triangles Pattern, and the other one is called Octagons Pattern. You could go back and watch those videos and then fold your pattern into a zine. Easy peasy. This would be so much fun to color in. As a matter of fact, I have some old ones that I did. So this is a zine where basically that's what happened. Except here the pattern was done in one go, like a day one setup. I've been talking about setting yourself up on the first day. Well, here I didn't do that. I basically just, I think what I was doing was doodling on both sides and then coloring. And I didn't finish because I sort of liked the idea of seeing what it looked like before it got colored. So that's what this one looked like before it got colored. Very similar, basically the same thing, just not in the same order, I think. Very similar. I think I left out something, but anyway, there you go. Colored pencils. I think this is highlighters over colored pencils. This is just highlighters. And this is that triangles one I showed you here. Well, this was actually a scrap from when I tried to do something and I didn't like it, but I saved the page, folded it into a zine, and you could see how every day you could color it in differently, right? And it's kind of fun to see what that looks like when it's open, even though you're not trying to create something that looks good when you open it, you're just filling your zine. But sometimes I like opening it up because of the funny ways it combines. But anyway, so there's that. So I'm going to link to all these videos I'm mentioning now so that you could see those if you haven't, or you could go back to them if you don't quite remember. And then the last one here is what we're actually going to do today. So finally, we're getting going here today. I just realized I lost my page I'm going to need here. Okay, so there's a video I did. It's a creativity warm-up, and it's called Puzzle Shapes. So these are the squared off ones. These are the curvy ones, or the rounded ones. I call them blobs sometimes. And these are the loopy ones. I call them with the loops out or with the loops in, right? So loops in is kind of like a cloud shape. Loops out looks like that. So these four shapes are going to be important now because I'm going to use them to create a sort of mix-up, mishmash kind of page here with using these puzzle shapes as my, pattern. I'm going to link to that video. And here's something I did. Here I think what I did was the first day I got the puzzle shapes down with a black pen, and the second day I came in and colored. Now I could have just as easily colored the foreground here and the background here. I think that would have been fun, but for some reason I did it this way. So I got all the loops. This is the loop-de-loops with the loops facing out, down on one day, and then I came in and colored it on the next day, just to show you what that might look like. Okay, we're finally ready to get going here. Let's do puzzle shapes. So it occurred to me that it might be fun to, and I'm going to use a black pen, to think of the two halves of your paper and to put the squared off puzzle shapes on one side and the blobby ones on this side. So, and I'm going to make them fairly big. So just letting yourself get into a little bit of flow here. Be careful with the slit. I always forget it's there, and then sometimes my pen sort of pulls on it. Not a big problem, but so let's see what we can do in just a few minutes here. So your day one setup is to do these, is to have your folded zine and to do these puzzle shapes, which is pretty relaxing actually. It's kind of a nice setup here. Again, I just showed you all those examples, so This is just one of many ideas you could use to set yourself up to have something to color in for the rest of the week. You know, if you just took your hand and traced it a bunch of times, like in my first creativity warm-up video, if you have enough overlap, what you're looking for is having enough overlap of creating interesting spaces to color in. That's really all you're after here. With the puzzle shapes, you can also play with foreground and background, which I like, so that you're not full-on coloring everything in one day if you don't want to. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing but rounding it off. And it kind of looks like a blob. So as soon as you have a few down, then you kind of always look to fill in the spaces around what you've already drawn. No right or wrong here. I'll scan this and add it as a slide at the end. So hopefully you've got a piece of regular paper in front of you and you're just doodling with me. Or maybe you had to stop this video and go check out those other videos. And now what I'm going to do is use the other two shapes I talked about. So I talked about loops in and out. So let's do the loops out. So I'm just going to go around here. And wherever there's a space, I'm going to squeeze one of these in here. This is already getting really fun. Not too busy, but busy enough. Now the reason I told you to start in the center of the two halves is because when this gets folded over, some of this will show up on every page, is what I'm sort of trying to do here. Trying to make it interesting. Where you're not, for example, only like the example I showed you, I don't even know, oh, this guy. It doesn't just have to be puzzle shapes on one page, you know, it could be a mishmash, or mix up, whatever you want to call it, a combo. It could be a combo of puzzle shapes, creating what I'm calling a pattern. This guy, and then there'll just be one shape. I'll be interested to see how this turns out. Okay, I'm gonna add a few more here. Now I'm gonna come in with the other one, was with the loop, a loop-de-loop with the loops facing in. So that's kind of when you go like this. They can be really little. Oops, it doesn't matter if you overlap, it's probably a good thing. I'm not trying to overlap, but I didn't really give myself enough space here. And then going back to some loop-de-loops going. So now I'm just going to mix it up. Whatever seems to work better. If this is like too, I don't know, too crazy, and you want want it to be more uniform, you want it to be more minimal, then go back to that idea of just tracing a circular shape like a cup or a glass. I keep saying cup, but a glass is actually better because it doesn't have a little handle, because that can sort of get in the way when you're tracing sometimes. And just trace that glass all over your paper and you're done. Your day one setup is done. And then the more small shapes you get from the more overlapping you have, the more interesting little shapes you get to full-on color for the rest of the week. And I think you'll like that. Let me put one more guy in here. Okay, so what happens when this gets folded? Well, this is what happens. So you could see I sort of left that. Maybe I could add a few more there. Completely up to you. You set yourself up the way I did, and then you come back, and if you see that you want to add something else, just add it. Nothing stopping you. So I'm here, I've got some squared off shapes and a lot of loop-de-loops, a lot of loop-de-loops, squared off shapes. Here I'm getting into the blobs. And I could have mixed it up more if I had. Another way you could go about it would be to do 2 different doodles, repeating shapes in the center, and then also on the corners, and then fill in everything in between. Something like that would work just as well. So let's pretend this is day 1, and let's just quickly come in here and color this in. So if this was day 1, we're doing full-on coloring. I like to pick one color and put it down a few times. So maybe 3 times. And I just go through all my colors that way. I color one bit in, and then I added a few more places. Let's see if I have some. So I hope you're feeling inspired. This is so easy to do. Such a simple way to add some creative play to your life. Coloring really is relaxing when you're not feeling pressure to do something. So I mentioned this before, that coloring books have sort of stress some people out. They kind of stress me out, just to be honest here, to be totally honest. They have to be fairly simple for me not to just look at that and go, ugh, like, it's hard. I obsess, you know. So for anybody who obsesses, if you're the kind of person that once you start a puzzle, you want to finish it, it's kind of the way I am, then seeing a very intricate coloring page just doesn't, I don't know, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. If it's supposed to be relaxing you, and just looking at that makes you think, oh, how am I going to do that? So making your own quick little coloring pages is just such a fun way to get your coloring in without feeling overwhelmed, keeping it fun, keeping it light. Let's see, what else? What else? What other colors do I have here? This always makes me laugh because I always think I've used all my colors, and then I realize there's a bunch that are still left uncolored, like this guy here. Maybe I can make this red. And so it looks to me like I might have 2 left. I'll make, oh, nope. What did I say? I'm always seeing more the minute I think I'm done. 1 left here. What color could that be? Pink. Oops. See, 1 thing here. What color could that be? How about this guy? Okay. Now I could have colored the background and maybe left some of these spaces white. It's kind of up to you. Because this repeats, maybe when you get to day 2, you actually try to leave some of these shapes in white and think more about coloring in the background. Totally up to you. But here you go. This is Daily Play with Zines, full-on coloring patterns for a week. And before we go, one last thing, and you're gonna love this. So let me move this stuff. If you want to color, and it's just too much work to do the daily setup here. Maybe you did it last week, but this week you're starting the week and it's just not gonna happen. If you're the kind of person that people have been giving you coloring books that you never use, or you have some that you've used, but there's plenty of pages that you haven't colored in yet. Or like I was saying, maybe it's a beautiful coloring book. I mean, some of them are gorgeous, but it's just so intricate, it's hard to get started. Here is a little trick for you, and I'm actually going to make a very quick video only about this. That'll be the next one up. What if you take that coloring page out of that coloring book that you're not using for whatever reason, you fold it into a zine, and now you're ready to go. I mean, can it get any easier than that? Alright, like I said, I'm making a video just about that. Back to what we did today. Okay, I hope you had fun taking this tiny play break with me. Be honest, it was super easy. You know, when it comes to your creativity, it's never about what you're making. It's about how you feel while you're making it, right? Okay, I've got lots more videos on my YouTube channel here, so subscribe, stay tuned, play. Come back and get your daily dose of make stuff feel good energy. Thank you so much for being here.